Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is episode number 19. 19. Here we are. Of the
Big
random.
19.
Big 19. Of the random album review. For those of you who do not already know, I'm Larry.
And I'm Brian.
And the way this works is each week, Brian and I alternate choosing an album for the other person to listen to for the first time, or at least listen to in its entirety for the first time. We get on camera, we talk about it a little bit, we give our thoughts on it from a new listener's perspective and an old listener's perspective, and yeah, we pick our favorite songs, maybe a least favorite song if we have one. That doesn't happen very often.
Very, very, very unlikely, but does happen
Does
sometimes.
happen occasionally. We give it a score and we move on and we do it again next week. It's not hard.
hmm It's not, yeah. Simple science.
Pretty
Easy.
simple science.
Yep.
So Brian, this week,
Yes, Larry.
I got to choose, and it's a doozy. It's kind of an all over the place album, but
hmm
I love it for it. I chose the second studio album from System of a Down, Toxicity, releasing September 4th of 2001. Just a
Ooh.
week before the obvious the attacks on September 11th, which does play a role into the album's release and it getting played on the radio. Actually, funnily enough,
Oh.
it's kind of insane when you think about it too, because I mean this album was released just a week before the terror attacks on 9/11, and this album is very, very politically charged. And 23 years later, a lot of this still rings true today.
hmm
Unfortunately.
Sadly. But worth a show. Not the best stuff, honestly.
Well, so back, it was 3 days after the terror attacks. Clear Channel Communications, which is now iHeartMedia, obviously, I'm
oh.
sure you've heard.
hmm
So they sent a memo to their over 1,100 radio stations across the country. And it included a list of songs or bands that they deemed unfit for the American radio post 9/11 because of either ties to death, ties to sadness, grief, being quote unquote un American, stuff of the nature. For example, Rage Against the Machine, they had their entire catalog of music banned from the radio, essentially.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say banned. DJs were allowed to play the songs, but they were very, very much pushed to not. But,
Yeah.
So Rage Against the Machine had all of their songs removed from the radio. System of a Down, this album comes out. Their only single from this album at the time, Chop Suey, gets cut from the radio completely,
hmm
taken off the radio. And a lot of the other songs on this album do not get played on the radio either because, well, yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of political emotion here.
hmm
Um, so you even had, as crazy as it sounds, this album is it's metal, but it is described as new metal, NU metal.
Yeah.
It's
New metal.
slightly different, um, but it's kind of all over the place again, just because it includes touches of folk, touches of prog rock, touches of jazz. You have the ties to the band members all being Armenian, and they use some factors of their own music. There's factors of Greek music. The sitar is on this album, banjo. It's all over the place, but it's so beautiful and different from their debut album as well, where they include a lot of softer melodies, a lot of
Mhm.
softer singing moments. But it just works on this. It's so beautiful. It's so great. And I will say it. I've said this before with our one friend Dylan. Shout out Dylan.
Shout out Dylan.
Shout out Dylan. Serge
He,
Tankian, the lead singer of System of a Down, has such a
mhm.
great and incredible voice, and he uses it so well. It is.
Oh yeah.
I love him. Love him so much. So this album contains a wide array of both political and non-political themes, such as mass incarceration, the CIA, the environment, police brutality, addiction, scientific reductionism, and groupies. Believe it or not,
Scientific reductionism.
I didn't know what that was either, and this ties directly into the song "Science" that we'll touch on later. Scientific reductionism is essentially the idea of that as time has gone on, we have strayed further and further away from religion and further into science because science is concrete evidence.
Okay.
We as humans do not like the idea of something being maybe. We want something concrete.
Hmm.
So that is what scientific reductionism is. This album peaked at number one on both the Billboard 200 and the Canadian album charts. Shout out Canada.
Shout out. Uh, yeah. Shout out Canada.
Okay, all right, sure. It sold 220,000 copies in its first week. Certified 6 times platinum in July of 2022, meaning that it's sold at least 6 million copies here in the US. And all of Toxicity's singles, which at the time of the album's release, Chop Suey was the only single. Then two more singles released. I know one of them was Ariel's. I forget what the third one was. I think it might be Toxicity. I could be wrong. But all three of them made it to the Billboard Hot 100. Um, so, and this is going to kind of tie into the first song here. So we had right when they dropped the album,
Hmm.
and then System of a Down shortly later that month, later in September, they go on tour with or a tour in the U.S. and Mexico with Slipknot.
Okay.
During concert in Grand Rapids, Michigan, in October of 2001, I believe I want to say it was their guitarist. He was harassed, racially profiled, and physically beaten by some guards when he attempted to enter the backstage area because, obviously he's playing. He needs
Hmm.
to be backstage. And after the attack, he needed medical attention and help from arena personnel and police in the place, and he eventually pressed charges, and I believe it was settled out of court.
Okay.
But kind of ties into the first song on the album. First song I wanted
Hmm.
to go over as well, Prison Song. Just because, the idea of unjust America is what I'll call it.
Hmm.
So Prison Song is a criticism of the prison industrial complex, the war on drugs, the incredibly high rate of incarceration in this country, especially when you compare it to other countries like us. Other, the quote unquote best countries in the world, the top countries in the world. It's kind of laughable, honestly. So in the song, a lyric I wanted to highlight, you have I buy my crack, I smack my bitch. Right here in Hollywood, nearly 2 million Americans are incarcerated in the prison system of the United States. You have Serge Tankian immediately, kind of going at the hypocrisy because you have people that are literally saying they do these horrible, awful things right here in Hollywood, and then you have just a bunch of normal people in America that have non-violent drug related charges, just simple possession charges. And guess what? They're in prison.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, there's, celebrities and all these people that just get away and get to do whatever the hell they want. Cool.
Yeah, money.
They have money.
Money.
I wish I had money. Not that much money though,
Damn.
because I donate it. Honest. I don't need that much money.
I do. I need to. I need to supply my addiction of video games somehow.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have enough games to play.
True. Sure. Yeah. All right.
Me sitting in my full Steam catalog, not playing a single game, be like, yeah, I'll watch some videos today.
Yeah. I'll throw the YouTube on today.
Yeah.
Not really feeling any games today. So
Yeah.
later on in Prison Song, you have minor drug offenders fill your prisons. You don't even flinch. All our taxes paying for your wars against the new non-rich. Kind of a double meaning here. You have all our taxes paying for your wars against the new non-rich. Could mean the war on drugs, started by, and it always comes back to him, Ronald Reagan and his war on drugs, against the new non-rich, obviously, targeting those who are less fortunate, and the ugly and disgusting war on drugs here in America. That is not a war on drugs, it is a war on people, specifically minorities. But also could be in double-sided meaning here, especially with the band members all being Armenian. This is probably a slight nod at the American military and how we put our noses where it does not belong, and we fight people that we do not need to be fighting, specifically in the Middle East.
Classic.
It is a classic. Classic America, right? Again, they're just dropping some more knowledge here in the song. The percentage of Americans in the prison system has doubled since 1985. So when this album was written in 2000, or in 2001, so 15, 16 years had gone by, and the amount of people in prison doubled in 16 years. Come on. What are we doing?
Yeah.
And then finally, the final line from the song that I wanted to touch really brief. Drug money is used to rig elections and train brutal corporate-sponsored dictators around the world. Yeah.
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 That line stood out.
It does. It does, because, well, yeah. The world revolves around money and putting people in power and pushing agendas. It's disgusting. Second song I wanted to highlight here, Dear Dance. It is all about police brutality against peaceful protesters who are standing up for what they believe in, but to no avail. It also criticizes the extreme militarization of police, as it makes references to the armor worn by police officers, to the military violence and brutality, and even to the heavy warfare weapons such as assault rifles and combat shotguns. It's kind of crazy seeing what some of these local police departments have in their arsenals now. We remember just a few years ago here where we live when things happened. I think you probably remember. You may have moved out at the time.
Oh, I moved out. Although something did happen, but I'll talk after the podcast.
Yeah, that's fine. The one line that really stands out from Dear Dance to me is, and it's repeated over and over and over again, is pushing little children with their fully automatics. They like to push the weak around. We sit here on TV and we see police officers in full riot gear, gas masks, riot shields, combat shotguns, assault rifles, tear gas, and they're just pushing people around. They're pushing children around.
Yeah.
Disgusting. Awful. Horrible. Moving on. And I know you briefly, before we started recording today, you asked me what the actual meaning of chop suey is. And I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of cryptic in a way, kind of. So Chop Suey is probably the most important song from this album, just because it was the only single released, and it was also a big middle finger to record labels and to specifically their record label. because this
Mhm.
song was originally supposed to be called a certain S word.
Mhm.
I think you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Um, it was supposed to be just called self righteous, that word, which is, said in the song.
Yeah.
Um, at the very beginning of when the song plays, if you listen very closely, you can hear Serge even say, "We're now rolling the word," like we're rolling the song. So there's a
Mhm.
little touch to it, but it was a big, middle finger to the record label because they were like, well, if they're not going to let us call it that, well, what if we call it something like kind of similar? Chop suey. There it is. It is all about. It's about being in a place and being in a place that's so dark and so rough that
Mhm.
the singer Serge in this case, he's very directly trying to say that you don't necessarily understand what I'm feeling.
Mhm.
I understand like my death would hurt you, but you don't know what me being here is doing to me. Um, it's very upfront, very confrontational about it. It is meant to make you uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Specifically, it is meant to make you look at your life and make you think about the things that are going on in your life that may actually be harmful to you when you're just trying to make it by, for example.
Mhm.
I even wrote here it is a way to make the listener wake up, which is obviously, said in the song.
Mhm.
It is meant to make the listener wake up, look at their lives, look at what they're doing, possible addictions, possible this, possible that, and think about what they're doing to themselves before they push themselves too far.
Mhm.
But great song, personally. I love it. Incredible. Great
I
single,
only know
and
for I only know it for the memes.
of course, I mean,
I've listened to it obviously, but I never actually listened to it.
no,
But it's just
that's,
like,
you hear it in passing. It's a great song, and obviously, since years and years have gone by, the song is now played again, like semi frequently on some radio stations. Um,
Mhm.
but it's amazing how well the song is still received today, despite that very, very rocky start for it.
Mhm.
But that's kind of the defiance of the metal community, and I love that.
Yeah.
So then we have ATWA, which I didn't know what it meant for a really long time until I was actually doing my research for this episode. And one of those things where you kind of just learn things, even, in your own research.
Mhm.
ATWA stands for Air, Trees, Water, and Animals. This was an uh, ecologist mandate begun by the notorious Charles Manson.
Oh.
Yes. Who I believe, I think he's the backup vocalist and the guitarist, or maybe bassist. I cannot remember, and I apologize. Uh, he cited several times Charles Manson as being an inspiration to him, which is interesting. I will say,
Mhm.
very interesting to choose him as an inspiration. But the song says, "Hey, you see me, pictures crazy," talking about how people look at Charles Manson and immediately just, oh, he's crazy. Oh,
Mhm.
he's off the wall. All the world I've seen before me passing by is a reference to him being, in prison. He's not living life, he's just seeing life. I've got nothing to gain, nothing to lose. All the world I've seen before me passing by. Um, it is very, very, very strange. Like the tie to Charles Manson, and I don't know, just very off the wall and kind of random, and not somebody I would personally say is a
Role model.
yeah, a role model, but
Someone to look up to.
I will say I know what they were going for, kind of. They were,
Mhm.
because in a few interviews they had said basically that because of his crimes, Charles Manson is a bad guy, yes, but they immediately look at him as being the bad guy, even though he was an ecologist. Like he was trying to fight for the environment. But people don't see that. People just immediately see him as being Charles Manson, the murderer, and the guy he was.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the media. That's modern day. I say modern day as if this didn't happen like 60 years ago, 50 years ago. Anyway, science. The that is the 10th song on the album. It is about the fight between the switching ideologies from religion to science-based beliefs. This is that scientific reductionism.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it is also about how science has failed humanity. And you get that, again, just one or two lines that really stick out to me. Science has failed our world. Science has failed our Mother Earth. And then they repeat over and over and over again, I believe, in the chorus, spirit moves through all things. Obviously, talking about the religious aspect of things.
Yeah.
The last song I wanted to highlight really quick, the other, really big song from this album, you have Toxicity. Great song. Absolutely love it. Banger. What do you own the world? How do you own disorder? Disorder. Now, somewhere between the sacred silence and sleep. Somewhere between the sacred silence and sleep, disorder, disorder, disorder. So the opening line of that right there is all about how some people, and again, I think this is another knock at America and the American government and the military, and how we think we just own everything and we kind of just stick our nose where it does not belong again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
The line now somewhere between the sacred silence and sleep, that is a nod towards how close, well, like when you really think about it, when we sleep, we are so close to what death probably feels like, just because we lose complete consciousness for hours and hours at a time. And we're kind of just sitting there in like I don't know, I don't want to say a vegetative state, but you get what I'm trying to go for.
No, we're just unconscious. We're just like
Yeah,
living.
you're not there.
I really live it. I mean, in death, we're not living, but when you're living, you're kind of just living.
Yeah.
You're growing. Then your body can actually repair itself. So
Yeah.
that's probably why you don't move at all. But I mean, once you die, you can't repair yourself. You know what I mean?
It's over. No more going back, pal. No more lives. You're done.
You're on your last life. It's hardcore. We're playing hardcore.
Hardcore. You can't respawn. And then, again, to close out that little section, you have the repeating of disorder, disorder, disorder. Kind of a nod to how bad things can be in this country, like especially like mental health wise. And I believe this is a nod to the guitarist. I believe he said I think he has ADHD and ADD both, and this is a nod towards him, like his medication and his medicating of himself to make himself, feel normal, essentially. But that's the last song I wanted to cover on the album. So Brian,
Yes, Larry.
I gotta know, cause very all over the place album. I gotta know though, what are your favorite songs?
Okay, so what you showed me here is that all these songs are politically charged, right?
Very.
Now I'm a guy, personally, right? I don't think I've told you this. Personally, right? I don't care.
That's fair.
I don't care about a lot of things, which some people have said is a very scary fact about me. But I just don't care. I just thought "Prison Song" was a really funny song because the way it was introduced.
The
Delivery. That makes sense.
No, I know exactly what you're saying.
It's like okay, and he just screams, "They're trying to build a prison," and all of a sudden you hear the fact that 2 million Americans are incarcerated every day. I'm like, that's awesome. That's unfortunate, but that's really funny.
He's just dropping knowledge bombs.
So yeah, so that's why "Prison Song" is one of my favorite songs. Not for the best reason, but it's a good reason nonetheless.
It's a good song. Hey.
And obviously "Chop Suey" is one of my favorite songs.
Banger. For sure.
That's because what was it? 2010s memes. Always you could like look through anything. All of a sudden you hear, "Wake up!
Wake up!
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!" Just repeat that. That's it.
That's it.
But yeah,
Now the
those I
system of
think
a Downer, they've been known to be in some internet memes.
internet memes.
They have and I feel so bad like enjoying their music as much as I do, but there is and I can't think of it for the life of me. There's a song where they literally describe the chorus is I'll show you after this. The chorus is
Right.
Serge Tankian describing what he likes on his pizza, like what toppings he likes on his pizza.
Oh, what?
Yes,
That's awesome.
I'll show you this after.
That's awesome.
It's
What?
awesome. It's a great song too.
All right.
Great song. So you said prison song,
Yeah, and chop suey.
Chop Suey. Okay. Any others? Just two?
Yeah, just those two.
Okay.
I mean, all the other ones
Okay.
like all they're good, but like I want to go back. Okay, like I consider a favorite song. I go back and listen to that.
Yeah.
like, over and over again.
You'd go back and listen to it on its own.
Yeah, those two songs for sure.
That's fair. So for
How
me
about you?
personally, I will just give the quick shout out to Chop Suey and Toxicity. They're great, incredible songs. Absolutely love them for what they are. Little overplayed to me personally, but again, they are great songs. There's a reason why they are overplayed. There's a reason why they become annoying after a little while.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of Prison Song. Absolutely love it. I love the Knowledge Bombs. It's great. It's a banger.
the knowledge bomb.
ATWA, the Charles Manson song. Didn't know it was a Charles Manson song. Still love it. It's a great song. It's a lot slower than the rest of this album. Very beautiful though, in its own ways. Oh, excuse me. Whew.
Jeez, man.
Then you have Science. My last favorite song. Great song. All around, just I don't know, touches to the environment and touches to like Mother Nature and stuff like that. It's good. It's fun overall. So Brian, I think I know the answer. But do you have any least favorite songs this week?
No.
Okay, that's fair.
Sorry to disappoint you, but no.
No, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I'm not gonna go
It's shocking, isn't it? I know.
I know
just
it's
don't
kind of
ever-
crazy. I mean,
I'm sure you're like so flabbergasted right now.
I
That's
know.
a big
Like
word.
I'm like starstruck. I'm gonna like once we're done recording, I'm gonna go lay in bed and cry. Okay, like you just broke my heart. Okay,
Well, I don't know any least favorite songs.
I do not have any least favorite songs on this album.
Yeah, that's fair.
I enjoy this album front to back. It's fun. It's a little all over the place. Bounce is strange. I'll explain what Bounce is about to you afterward, just because I can't talk about it on here.
Okay.
Yeah. You kind of get it. Anyway,
I'm gonna listen to it right now. Look at the lyrics.
so Brian, this being your first metal album from me,
I
at
see.
least.
Mhm.
What would you say? Like what are your overall thoughts? I don't know. How you feeling?
Personally, I mean, I liked it. Like, I say it for everything, but I like it. It was very fun though. Like I said, I couldn't care less what the lyrics about. It just sounded funny to me.
Fair enough.
It's like I mean, obviously, I've heard I've listened to Chop Suey before because of the memes. I'm like, oh, what's this song? Oh, this song sounds pretty good. I never knew what it was about, but this song's pretty good.
Mhm.
Now I do. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Anyway, it's a good song.
It's a good song.
So
No, that's fair. I mean, like they're especially with some more like rough metal, like even stuff I won't listen to, and I respect people that do. There are some times where when they are growling or just doing any of their vocalization, it is just, what are you saying?
yeah, people who don't understand growls are like, that's astonishing. Like, how
It's amazing.
That's cool. It's crazy that you can understand that. By the way, that's crazy.
Like to me, you're just saying gibberish. It just sounds awesome, but I don't know. I get it.
It fits as a song.
It does,
You're,
it
you're
does.
performing right now, but I don't know. I don't know what the hell you're saying, buddy.
No, yeah, but I'm glad you enjoyed the album. Honestly, it like I said, it's all over the place. It's not like super heavy metal by any means. It's it's all over the place because there are some spots that are softer, there are some spots that are more melodic, there are some spots where the vocalization gets really soft, and it just, I don't know, it's all over the place. It's great. It came out at a very strange time, unfortunately, for the album, and it kind of, caused some controversy and some things to boil up, and it is just, I don't know, it's interesting all around. So Brian, here we are. I gotta know. Out of
Mm-hmm.
10, what are you giving this album?
I give it an 8.
An 8. Oh, okay, okay. I didn't expect an 8, but
According to my notes here, it is the same ranking as Californication.
nice. Okay, okay. That's respectable. I respect that, actually. Because I these albums both were really, really heavy in my rotation, or both of those albums really heavy in my rotation, like in high school. So I hold a lot of
Mm-hmm.
emotional value for both of these albums. So that's
Mm-hmm.
cool. Um, I'm gonna give this album a 9.5 out of 10. I love this album so much. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Great album to listen to
Yeah.
front to back. It is 15 song. Well, it was originally 14 songs, but the 15th song R2 is actually a bonus hidden track that was hidden on the 14th track Aerials on like the CD release.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a quick little listen, 45 minutes. It's not too taxing. It's not, like too long, not too short. It's good. It's fun. I listen to my music for for the lyrics and like listening and understanding what they're trying to say, what they're trying to do. So this album to me it's awesome. It's phenomenal. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Love it so much. Serge Tankian is a very, very talented man.
Yeah, I like his voice.
I will say it, and I didn't touch on this during the episode. It's kind of crazy though, just because they released 2 albums in 2005, and then they split up in 2006, reunited in 2010, and since 2010 they have not made any new music outside of 2 singles that they released in the pandemic in 2020. They're just
Yeah, I saw
touring,
that.
which like good for them. Honestly, they're having fun. They're living their lives. Just kind of
Mm-hmm.
strange.
I mean, it's whatever. It's their life. They do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, exactly. They're living it, touring, being cool, playing big festivals, playing with baby metal. Pretty cool.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So, Brian, anything else you want to cover today?
Uh, I had something in my head and I forgot. Oh, right. So it's about your. You said you listen to the music for your lyrics and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you. I was gonna say a joke like, oh yeah, you can do that. I don't really understand most of my music, you know. I don't really understand half the songs I'm listening to, but it sounds fire.
It sounds fire. That's
And
all
that's
that
how
matters.
I listen to my music. Yeah.
That is all that matters.
But yeah,
Right.
that's
Well,
about it.
if you guys have listened to Toxicity before, what would you rate it? Do you have a least favorite song, a favorite song? I don't know. Maybe let us know. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and we will see you guys next week.
See ya.
See ya.